Okay, I have a new song to give out a lesson to for today. You guys might like this one. This is a fun one and a cool one. This is Atlanta by Strawhorse. You guys might know the song off of this game, ATV Offroad Fury, off of PlayStation 2. As you can see, I got this on too. I think it makes it good for the video. And I am going to teach you how to play it. So, I apologize if I make any mistakes. I will try to explain this the best I can. The tuning we are going to be for this song is drop C sharp. So basically, if you're in E standard, E, A, D, G, B, E, just tune that a half step down, which gives you E flat or D sharp standard, right? And then what you'll do from there is you'll take the top string, the E string or sixth string, and then you'll tune it a whole step down, which will give you drop C sharp or drop D flat. It's the same thing, but essentially the top string and the D string or the fourth string, they are going to be the same notes. They're just octaves of each other. So anyway, the way the song starts out, it starts out with this kind of clean guitar, but I believe a wah pedal is being used, and so you'll kind of hear it going on in there. I'll probably teach you how to play what's going on in that wah pedal, but you'll kind of see how it's going, but you'll see why. I'll teach you later. So anyway, that part is playing, and then this part kicks in. Finally, distortion coming on. 5th fret A power chord, and then you hit it, and then you hit that open, and then let it ring out, and you hit that twice. So it's just going this. Okay, and then from there you're gonna take your ring finger out, and then you'll let your index finger rest on the D string, so it mutes that. I'm gonna call these E, A, D, G, B, E strings just because, you know, it makes things easier, even though we are in drop C sharp. So you'll just get the octaves of each other. And so on the 5th fret, you're gonna go downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, and slide to the 4th fret of the A with an upstroke, and come slide back to the 5th fret, and then downstroke, upstroke, downstroke. So 1, 2, 3, right? So essentially it starts off on the 5th fret here. This pattern basically. Then believe it ends up that 4th fret there, and then it jumps to the 3rd fret on the A. Now you're doing a power chord. And then you'll come up on the 3rd fret of the E, just that single note there. And then you'll do that right there. So there's no hammer-ons or pull-offs going on here. So you'll be picking every single note. You have that going on there, right? I would explain this, but it is a little difficult, so I apologize for that. Come to the 5th fret on the A, power chord. Hit 3rd fret on the E. Then 3rd fret on the A, power chord. Then come back to the 3rd fret on the E, just that single note. And then you do that slight bend. It's a very slight bend. You don't have to bend it too much. You don't have to bend it too little. It's just a slight bend, okay? And that bend, that's that second part around, you know, the song, if that makes sense. Because we first had this one, then this one, whoops, then that one, okay? And then at this part, there's some kind of background going on. I don't know if that's a pinch harmonic down here on the fretboard or not. I wish I could tell you, but I honestly do not know. So if you could tell me what that part is, please do. But anyway, you'll hear this part going on. Okay, so all what that is, it's just now you're doing your drop tune power chords. So you'll come to you'll bar the E and A string on the 5th fret, and then just hit that twice, and then you slide up to the 3rd fret, and do that twice again. So basically you get this. Whoops. And then you go back into that riff again. And then at this part, you end it with the 5th fret on the A, and you let that ring out, and then you'll kind of hear the wah pedal being used in that part. But anyway, you will also hear the bass line in this part, and I want you to take note of the bass line, because what's about to happen is the chorus kicks in, and the guitar kind of follows the pattern of the bass being played. So the bass is doing a pattern, and the guitar follows up with that same pattern that the bass is playing. And that pattern is the chorus, which is this right here. Okay, so what's going on there is you're on the 5th fret on the A, power chord, and you got this pattern going on. So it's going to be like we're going to call it a 1 2 1 2 3. Okay, 1 2 1 2 3, or like that. I'm sorry. Okay, and then I believe you hit it one more time before you jump to the 3rd fret on the E power chord. So okay, so when you go to that 3rd fret on the E, right, that power chord there, I believe it still follows the 1 2 1 2 3 pattern, but you see in the last two notes in the 1 2 3, right, you can hear, basically I just sat down and, I played the song over and over again, and I learned it by ear, and it sounds like in the last two, you're barring that 3rd fret there, the E, A, and D strings, and the bottom 3 strings are being open, so that's why you kind of want to have your index slightly angled a little bit, so that way you allow the 3 strings to ring out, the bottom 3 strings to ring out. So basically what's going on here is the first 3, so the 1 2 then 1, it's just that power chord, 3rd fret, and the last 2, you're basically hitting all of the strings. That 3rd fret of the E, A, and D being barred on the 3rd fret, and bottom 3 being open. And then you have this part going on here. Okay, so that right there, just come to the 3rd fret on the A, but take your ring finger out, so that way you're just playing the octaves. Then you slide up to that 2nd fret there, just hit that once, and then you come back on the 3rd fret. So basically, you're just hitting that 3 times, 1 2 3, 1 on the 2nd fret, and then just come back to the 3rd fret there and hit that twice. And then you'll jump back to the 3rd fret on the E, then do that 1 2 3, then open strings on the E, A, and D, then hit the 3rd fret again, and then the 5th fret. Okay, so this is what you have. Okay, so at the ending, okay, this is what you got to take note of. And I almost forgot to mention this. At the ending, that part right there, okay, it's that same pattern that I just showed you, okay, but when he gets to the end there, it's being played twice. Whoops. So that's being played twice. I don't know if it ends with an open E and A at the end, or if it's just ending at that 5th fret there. Okay. If it doesn't have that open E and A in the end, just end it at the 5th fret and it should be fine. Okay. And so this part, same thing's being repeated at that little pinch harmonic I mentioned in the beginning, and the snare going on, you know, and this part. Now, this part though, that's still the same in that part. However though, when the drums and the singing kick in, you got this going on now. Whoops. Hit the wrong note there. But anyway, what's going on in there is you hear this chugging going on, okay? And it's just the open E and A that you're chugging in here. Okay, and it's that same 1 2 1 2 3 pattern going on from earlier. Okay, so you do that 1 2, then that 1 2 3. So hold on a second. Okay, then after that 1 2 3, you do chug chug or palm mute, right? You hit the 1st fret on the E and A there. Then chug again twice, palm mute twice. Then you hit the 5th fret twice, and then slide it up to the 3rd fret twice, open. Then it jumps back to that riff. Okay, so that's what's going on in that part, that chugging, and then, you know, combining that riff and everything. Hopefully that made sense. And so, sorry about that. It jumps back to, let's see. Okay, after that riff is done, once you come to that part where the wah-wah pedal's going on, and then you hear that bass line going, and that 5th fret A is ringing out, right? You just let that ring out, and it's coming back to the chorus again. Okay, that whole chorus is being played again, and you will play that same pattern. All those power chords, everything I just taught you in the chorus, you are going to play that for quite some time, because this kind of lead or solo is coming in. I don't know if I would necessarily call it a solo, but that part comes in and you play that same chorus pattern, okay? All of those power chords, all of those notes, plays the same thing. However, when you reach in the end, there's this part again, like from earlier. Okay, so when that solo or lead is about to end, right, you're doing that pattern, like, I believe it's 3 times. Okay, so when you come to that 3rd time around there, I believe what's going on here is, okay, rather than doing that open E and A strings, right, you're still are going to keep your finger here on the 3rd fret of the E. So basically, and then you hit that 5th fret there. Then after that 5th fret, you do the open E and A strings, and then you palm mute the open E and A strings twice. So then it comes into this kind of part going on. Whoops. Now, if you listen closely, it kind of sounds a little weird when that open E and A string is going on there. It's going something like that. And you will also hear that, you'll hear that noise of when you lightly rest your fingers on the strings, it does this, it does that noise. So kind of like, so when that ends, you just end on that 5th fret there on the E, and then you just kind of have to jump to the 5th fret on the A, right? And so that part where you do that, when you hear that in the song, you know, you lightly resting your fingers on the strings, you don't necessarily have to do that, but if you want to, go ahead. But because we don't know exactly where it's starting from and where it's being slided from, but it kind of sounds cool, you know what I mean? So okay, so this part around, you'll hear this, you know, that sound effect, I don't know what that is, but you'll hear the lyrics, the truth lies buried, and then you'll hear him say, beneath our feet. And this same thing going around here. Now it just does that pattern. Okay, so remember when he says beneath our feet, it's that pattern, it's that part again. Okay, so right at that end, believe it's that part again. Whoops. Believe it's done twice in that part, but the way it ends, you'll hit that open A, and then you'll just palm mute that twice. And it's a little slow because you'll hear the drum snare just kind of go like that in the end. Okay, it's not open, but it's just 2 palm mutes going on there. Okay, so I believe it's open and that right there. And that is the whole song. I might do a cover on this song soon, but hopefully that was a good lesson and y'all understood. Thank you.